since the demand is high, and of course the price should be good. Okay, that's a question that I raised.
All right. If I can just chip in a little bit, Roger. You know, Zambia, the first question you asked is, do we know the value of copper as Zambians? I would say we don't. We've been mining since the 1900-something in Zambia. We are taking out copper cathode as opposed to finished products in Zambia. Yeah. Secondly, the tonnage of copper we are mining keeps on increasing. 2020 was the record production of copper in Zambia. We produced about 900,000 tons of copper. Now, before we even go to there, if we take out about, if you're writing down, it's actually 882061 tons of copper were produced last year. Now, if you look at the tonnage of copper only, can you imagine how big a hole we left in Zambia? How are we going to reclaim those holes once the copper is done? Jumping off, okay, you said copper is not a renewable product, which means at some point there will be no more copper. What are we doing as a country? How are we preparing ourselves when that copper is no more in Zambia? What are we going to jump on as a forex earner?
Okay.
Can I come in on that?
Yeah. Before you come in to Nathan's point, I don't know what Nathan said. Everyone is bringing questions, but to Nathan's point, can you remember, Chairman, what you said?
He said, "Why are we not meeting the demands?" Right?
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Now you've reminded me. He said the supply is diminishing. That's what he said. So go ahead.
Here's why. My take might be a little bit different. For me, we know the value of copper. Bad administrations have used copper as a cash cow. They know, they read all these things. They know demand is high, right? It's a deliberate thing. Whatever administration comes in, they want to sell access of the mines to investors so that they can get a kickback. It's the only reason that you can sell a mine for 25 million. Are you telling me Zambians on the ground don't know the value of that mine? They do, but it's the people in power who are making decisions. So they've treated the running of the copper as a cash cow for administrations, the parties in government. The reason why we cannot meet the demand, Pastor Nkama, it's because we don't want to invest in the running of the mines. We are very comfortable. It's like me having 20 hectares of land and Matava, right? All the time people see me, Ibaladi and 20 hectares with maize, right? But if you go behind the scenes, you find that Kanshine, I only farm 1 hectare. The 19 are always licit to somebody to invest. Mamon, when that crop is Basombola, people will think I have that money, right? But it's the people who have been farming the 19 hectares that make the money. That's the thing with Zambia today. We see all this value of copper and demand going high. We expect the country to do well because we're producing. But the problem is it's the management thing.
Before that, tu l'avais pêché bon, ça va chala. Before that, tu l'avais pêché bon, ça va Zambia, va les teka. Na fwebe nefie. Tere umfaba ne suba le rondo lap. Do you really know? Sure, if we do understand value of copper. If that was the case, send to money for to mine edikalung pama election na papa piti. Look the way we rose as a country.
Well, I think we do. To me, I look at it. I mean, if you ask all those engineers in the mines or people running the mines, they know the value of copper.
Okay.
The problem we've had is that administration.
You are right, but
we don't want to run the mines. Because it's a cash cow. It's like, if I wrote it before I did, that's in 1 minute. It's like the contract say Musebo na RDA. Why do you think RDA was put State House? I just leave it to you guys.
Good question. Good question.
Every day, Musebo Munakula, every year you do roads. Is that the only development thing? No, but why? That's where they get most of the money, the kickbacks. So the situation here, mine, we need people who are, it's just that our parliament is toothless. Most of these things we talk about, parliament today, take control of certain things. Things can align in Zambia, but the problem is it's just the president and his party, always. So to me, it's just a management thing. We know, they know, the leaders know. They don't want to give it out because that's the cash cow.
Okay, but also I'm making an argument. Again, now a question. They are leaving a hole. They are leaving a hole our mind, which needs to be answered. But argument. We know the value, but I'm also saying we don't act like it.
There is a gap in the way we look at the mines, what we seek to appropriate out of the mines, and what the entire world get out of the product of our mines. There are those multiple gaps. So at different levels, we have an understanding, but at different levels, we do not have an understanding of what that type of investment means both to our country. But I have to look at history. Historically, we've understood the value of the mines, particularly what copper does to our country. Copper built Zambia. Copper built the roads, the schools, and everything that we can take care of and do. Copper did that. So we understand what we can get out of it. But in terms of information on the value of copper on the global market and what copper is being used for and the exhaustive markets that we can venture into it, that takes some school. And unfortunately, most of our people don't have financial school. So we do not understand the real value of copper. We do not understand the real value of copper. And part of it is because of lack of exposure and lack of understanding. When we mine the copper in the Zambia, where do we take it? Who takes it from Zambia? And where do we sell it? Who sells it on behalf of Zambia? When they sell, who gets the money on behalf of Zambia and how much Zambia gets out of that? We have no understanding of the entire copper financial trail. So on that score, we cannot, and we do not even have ability to understand as a population, we do not have the ability to understand the real value of copper because we are prevented from it. There are silos within the copper selling industry or the copper producing industry. There are silos and there are chunks of dark corners and information that we cannot appropriate and disseminate it to the common person because they both do not envision or understand that type of a world and that global business and how those things function. So you can bring here, for example, you can bring here the solar panels, you can bring here electric cars and stuff like that. All those make copper. And most of the copper that is sold, we have a lion's share. The lion's share comes from our villages. Kuilamba Ekwesu and na Kusoreji. We have the lion's share of the supply chain in the copper to the global market. But our people don't understand that. That is why you can be a country so rich in resources, but you lack. But there is poverty because there are those type of disconnects and silos of information and lack of understanding each step of the value chain and what you can get out of it. And it will take us many years and multiple generations, different governments, and many different policies for us to get this right. I don't think that even our current government has the ability to bring that understanding to our local people on the real value of copper. Because if we do that, right now there will be riots in Zambia that increase, for example, if those riots could help increase the value of shares of the local people, the Zambian people, in the same copper that you're talking about. But there is nothing like that. What the fights in Zambia are about is who takes over the markets. Who takes over the markets? Yeah, who takes over the markets? So that's the real fight for our people. You see, the UPND have to go in the markets, beat up people, and collect revenues from the people. But the real money is in the mines. Yes. Instead of putting up riots on the roads, so let's increase the share of the money that is coming out of the mines, because nobody understands mathematics and nobody's interested in that. So how can you deal with this? How can even government help people who can't think that far? I don't get it.
Again, Bakasonso, when I was talking, I said to you, when I was alone again at work, I was talking to you, I said, you are a professor. It is time we start leading think tanks where we just stay. Abantu bale using YouTube. Information is there. Hold on, Bakombe. Lekeni bankama batipera for example tulamba na show ila imbia chifumako. Say that Nathan, what you said about oil and Dubai. Say it very quickly before we look at what the Swiss nationals themselves are doing to fight for us. And we are busy here saying, oh, we can't.
Very quickly, Dubai used oil to build their country and infrastructure and whatever they have done. Whatever they built took over from oil. You get the point? They don't. Oil now is not the main thing. They used oil to build their economy. So now what oil built has become the mainstay of the country. Why have we failed to do that in 57 years?